Welcome to the JaazMajesty Show. This week's episode is about real estate. Now, I had one earlier real estate agent from Grand Rapids, and now I'm in Vegas with Robin, Rachelle, Kirksey, Scott. All right. So, Robin, tell us, what realty company are you with out here?
I am with Paradigm Realty. I've been with them since 2016, and I've been a licensed realtor here in the Las Vegas Valley since 2004.
Awesome.
So 18 years.
Okay, great. I just had a few questions I would like to ask you, and that might help some first-time buyers and looking for a home, and to save them some time and trouble, and just to be more prepared. What documents would you say, if you decide to buy a home, you're looking for a realtor, or you talk to a realtor, what documents should you have in place?
Well, the documents that I would have in place when you're going to see your lender, which you will want to do, would be you would want to have at least 2 months of bank statements. Okay. They're eventually going to want more, but you want to have at least 2 months of bank statements. Okay. The other thing you want to have is your license. They're going to want to pull your credit to see where you're at. So as long as you have your driver's license, give them permission to pull your credit. Okay. And have, if you have up to 2 years of bank statements, that's even better. They want to see patterns in how you're spending your money, and they want to see if you're paying your bills on time.
Okay, great.
And check stubs for your employer. They have specific documents that they're going to want from you. For me, it's not that complicated. I'm the realtor, I'm the house person. You don't have to have your lender come into me, but we will need to be pre-qualified before we can go out and start looking at homes, because we want to know what your buying power is going to be able to afford you as a client, and to go out and to be able to look at homes. There's nothing more frustrating than to think that you're going to be able to afford a $400,000 house. Get out there and get yourself worked up for that home, and then find out you're qualified for $250,000. So you want to know exactly what your buying power is going forward, which is why you want to prepare yourself to go in, have your pay stubs, have 2 years of work history in the same field. You don't necessarily have to be at the same job for 2 years. You do want to have 2 years of work history in the same field. So if you're in the trucking business, you want to leave ABC trucking company, you don't want a gap. They're going to look to see how big of a gap that is. And that can knock you out of the playing field. So you don't want a gap. They want to see you go right into the new job in the same field.
One question I had, there are a lot of self-employed people, like gig workers, DoorDash, Uber drivers, Lyft, people that do services and they work for themselves. What would you suggest that they have ready? Do they do the same things, or is there something additional that they should do because they are self-employed?
Yeah, their C schedule for their 1099.
Okay.
That's going to give the lender a bottom line of how much money they actually took home. Okay. Not just grossed, but took home. Okay. You know, you get a lot of different tax write-offs when you're self-employed. Realtors are self-employed. Yeah, but they want to see that pattern. They want to see how much money you've been able to make doing what it is you do.
Okay, so that's awesome. And one other thing I thought about too, when you're looking for a home, what things do you think are important for a home buyer to look for, like the school system, shopping, those type of things, parks, depending on your situation?
Those would be your amenities and your criteria. After we get you pre-qualified, I keep reiterating that part because that's important, because a lot of people want something and they don't realize what they can afford. But after we get you qualified, the first thing I'm going to want to know is, what is your criteria? I want to know how many bedrooms do you need? How big is your family? Is it just you? Is it important for you to be around a shopping center, or do you want to be back in the cut? So I find out what your criteria is. I put in all your criteria based off of your dollar amount. I put in that dollar amount, and I put in everything under.
Okay.
But when I put in the square footage, a lot of times I put in your dollar amount and that square footage and everything over, because I don't want to leave anything out for you. It's my job to find that needle in the haystack for my client.
When you are in the process, like you get your approval letter,
Yes.
you've seen the house, you've picked it out.
Mm-hmm.
What's the timeline before going in escrow or closing?
Well, your timeline is typically, we shoot for around 30 days with a conventional. Sometimes it's a little bit more. Sometimes we can close them. I've had them close, up to three weeks before. So what you want to do is with an FHA, it sometimes takes a little longer. It may take up to 45 days.
Okay.
Or with a VA loan, it may take that. But we always put that into the contract. I have a conversation with your lender. Okay. And I get an idea of exactly what are we looking at as far as closing. Everything matters. When we get those appraisals in, it matters. It needs to appraise for a certain amount, or if we're waiving the appraisal contingency.
Okay, awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Now, one thing I found out was very important, and I've talked to some people looking
mm-hmm.
for a house. It could be a couple, a group of people purchasing,
mm-hmm.
and I was always told never go buy a car in the middle, or a big purchase when you're in the middle of shopping for a home, or somebody says, "Oh, I got the house, I'm approved," and then the spouse goes and buys the car in the middle of everything.
Unless you are buying in cash, and I need you people to listen to me. Unless you're buying in cash, don't go out and make a bill. Pay your bills on time and do not create a bill. If it's over $100, I tell my clients, especially the ones who are first-time home buyers and they're not familiar with the process, don't go and make a bill. Check with your lender. Some people just rush into paying things off. You don't know. You may not even have to pay something off, and you might need that cash to put in on your down payment. So it's so important to be transparent with me as your real estate agent and with your lender. Trust me, the underwriter's going to find it. I have had other coworkers or people who I work alongside of who's made it to the title company. They're right there at the close of escrow, and a wife decided she wanted a new car. She was happy, found out she was going to get X amount of money back at the close of escrow. She went and she bought a car. Guess what? They thought they were going home with a set of keys. They didn't get the house.
Oh, that's
it fell out of escrow. Fell out of escrow 2 days before she was about to buy. So the whole time you're in escrow, whether it's 30 days, whether it's 2 months, don't go and create a bill. It's not worth it.
Don't run your credit cards up and go shopping.
Don't go get another credit card.
Okay.
Do what your lender tells you to do. Be transparent with your lender. We are all on the same team. You would not go to court without your attorney. Do not go into a real estate deal without consulting with your realtor and with your lender. We're on the same team. I don't get a nickel unless I close that deal. Your lender's same thing.
Okay, that's some awesome advice.
Absolutely. Thank you.
So if you're coming to the Las Vegas area and you're interested in property, we will have Robin Kirksey's information at the end of the show on her social media, how you can contact her, and check her out. She's been in the industry for quite some time.
18 years.
Things change, and your lender and your real estate agent is here for you. And hopefully I can get some lenders on the show so we can kind of guide these people and take the headache out of purchasing a home. It can be a lot easier than most people make it. If you follow the rules, if you go by some guidelines.
Trust your real estate agent. Trust your real estate agent. And to make sure that you're transparent.
And be upfront with everything, because I was escrow assistant at a title company.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times when they did the refinance, if you do not disclose information, don't hold it back, because underwriting will find out right when you're right there, getting ready to do that closing, pops up.
Absolutely.
Things pop up. So just put it on the line. Hey, this is my situation. What can you do for me? how can we work this out? And it'll make your process go much smoother.
Yes, absolutely. And let me just add one thing. I know a lot of buyers out there have buyer's fatigue. It's been a rough 2 years due to COVID and how the prices soared. And you've got, the prices are going up on everything. Talk to someone who's dedicated to you. Not every realtor is cookie cutter. Find someone who cares. I've been through it all. I went through the recession personally, and I know the struggle. And there are realtors out there who do care. And if the first one doesn't care, you go to till you find someone who does, who's willing to put the time in with you.
Well, thank you so much, Robin, for coming on the show. I really appreciate the time.
Thank you for having me.
And again, folks, we'll have her information at the end of the show so you can contact her. See you later. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
I have an awesome realtor on here today, and she is also a disc jockey, DJ, for corporate events as well. And I'm going to introduce you to Miss Doretha Ardoin. She is a realtor in Grand Rapids with Green Ridge Realty Company. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. I want to do this show on real estate because I think a lot of people are misinformed. There's a lot of new things going on that we need to know about. And I have a professional here to give us some advice as to when we are looking for a home and what steps to take. So, Doretha,
Yes.
can you tell us how long have you been selling real estate, number one?
Well, for 42 years. I actually
Wow.
got licensed in 1978 here in Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Great. So I bet you've seen the trend turn several times.
Yeah, I always say I've worked through several presidents.
Several There you go. That's cool. So I wanted to do a segment on what should a first-time buyer do to prepare themselves to see a real estate agent.
Well, that's great. I think that, and I specialize, by the way, with the first-time home buyer.
Oh, that's wonderful.
So I think the first step for first-time home buyers is to not be intimidated by the process, to find someone local or get a referral to someone local who knows the community, knows their market area, to work with them. So they can have their own agent, a buyer's agent, but they should maybe look for someone who knows the community, someone who works in the community, and understands the market in the area.
What should a home buyer's credit be these days? What's acceptable? What's the starting, or what are the lenders looking for?
Yes, and I'll disclose that I'm not a lender or mortgage lender, but I have dealt with several, and so really there's different requirements for credit score. Credit is scored, so your score kind of anticipates what your interest rate will be, what your cost would be, and the type of loan product that you might have. I think the most minimal score that's most recent in this market is like a 580. But the higher your score,
Better interest?
product you're going to get, better interest, less cost. And in this competitive market, it might be easier to compete with your offers because you have a better type of financing. Maybe it's not necessarily subsidized, so to speak. So you can compete more easily.
Okay. What is the difference between an FHA and a conventional loan? Because a lot of people, that way they kind of know which way they want to go. What's the difference?
Well, first of all, FHA allows a better opportunity for first-time home buyers, especially not just first-time home buyers, but especially for first-time home buyers, because it's a government insured loan, and it allows you to get in with lesser down payment requirement. The requirement for most FHA loans is 3.5% down payment.
Okay.
Whereas a conventional loan, typically the lowest down payment is 5%, and then you have private mortgage insurance with that, unless you're putting 20% down. So typically, conventional is a stronger loan product from maybe a seller's side. They look at that more favorably because they know the buyer is putting more money into the deal.
Okay.
The loans process faster. So, but no one should be steered to get type of financing they don't want. They should only be directed to get the type of financing they qualify for. So sometimes people just assume that a particular home buyer, based on their ethnicity or something like that, would only need to qualify for a certain type financing, like government loans or something, simply because it's a stereotypical thing. So I always tell buyers to shop around, and you for them to choose their own lender partner. I can always recommend lender partners, but there's some that work differently than others. Some are mortgage brokers, mortgage bankers, private lenders, and so some have more programs and more product to offer the buyers, more choices. Credit unions offer mortgage loans, so there's all kinds of programs available, several for them to choose from.
That's a good point. And I just wanted the viewers to know the more information you have, the better choices you can make for your own financial situation and your own goal. And to use someone that's, been in the business that knows how to help you achieve the goal.
Someone you get is kind of accountable to you, because you're hiring them to help you make a big decision in your life, big investment in your life. So you want to be able to, you have to have a trust factor there. So it's always good to maybe interview the realtor before you choose them, or maybe get a recommendation. There are several to pick from. In our market alone here in Grand over 3,000 in our membership. So right in our little town of Metropolitan.
In Grand Rapids?
Yeah, there's over 3,000 realtor members.
Wow, I had no idea.
Yeah, it's pretty competitive. And unfortunately, I can't say that everybody's great, because I don't think in any industry that large, everybody isn't great. But there are a lot of good ones.
Okay.
And then there's some great ones.
Okay, that's good to know. The other thing I want to ask you about, what if there were people that wanted, let's say a family wanted to go in on a investment property? Would they seek a broker or a real estate agent, or both?
They probably should still find a real estate agent. And if it's a real high multiple unit, typically it will be better to have someone who has a commercial license, because once you're over 4 units, if you're like buying a huge apartment complex or something, you'd be searching for somebody with different knowledge, different skills. So I would recommend highly to get a commercial broker in that case. But 1 to 4 family units for investment, most licensed real estate agents who work under their brokers are very well versed in that.
Okay, perfect. Well, audience, I'm so glad that Miss Doretha took the time out to come to the show and just, explain just some basic about real estate and the type of loans and what to expect from a real estate agent. She does teach these classes, and we'll have all her social media information at the end of the show. I'm going to take your class, because knowledge is power. And do you recommend someone, let's say they bought a house 15 years ago or 20 years ago, would you recommend they take this class now, or should they be like, don't worry about it because you already bought a house before, the process?
Probably wouldn't be as advantageous than it would be for a first-time person or a second-time. Maybe they have been out of the market for a while, maybe lost a home or something 10 years ago when the market was down, and now they're rebooting themselves into housing. Then it might be wise for them to take a refresher course. It just gives you guidelines and resources and tips on how to choose the right agent, what to look for when it comes to the purchase agreement, what to ask for, questions to ask when you're interviewing mortgage lenders, things like that. So it's a very affordable class. I believe the last time I checked, I could don't quote me, but I think the classes were like $5, and they even offered childcare for people.
You can't beat that.
And they do mornings, they do evenings, and they do some weekend classes.
Okay, great.
Several organizations that offer them available, and they have a calendar. I just volunteer at all of those organizations. I've done that volunteer type work for over 20 years.
Also, I thought that was unique about you, other than the real estate, you DJ online and in the park, right?
Yes, I do. I happen to have that became a second business for me. It started out as a hobby, and I really love music. So I ended up DJing. I've probably been DJing now for over 25 years here in Grand Rapids. Well, I travel all over, but my stage name is Jazzy D. And
okay.
I'm one of Grand Rapids known lady disc jockeys. That's mobile. I don't do radio, but I'm mobile.
Okay.
So, all kinds of parties, fun parties like community events, weddings, receptions, corporate parties, you name it, birthdays, reunions. It's a blast.
Oh, that sounds
awesome.
awesome.
I started doing it online on Facebook Live. I started doing a Friday night show. I do at 7 p.m. And then on Sunday, I do I call it the Hour of Power Gospel Music Show. And I do gospel music on Sunday from like 2 to 3:30. Been doing it for a couple years now online.
Oh, that's cool. Did you just pick that up during the pandemic? Like, let me just get on here.
All my gigs were canceled during the pandemic.
Right. You couldn't sit any houses, right?
And music for me is kind of like therapy, and it's the universal language. So it's interesting to me how many people you bring together with music. And often it complements my real estate business. I might sell a young couple a house. They get married. I end up DJing their wedding reception, or
there you go,
corporate party, and somebody's corporately getting relocated. I end up selling their home and transferring them to another company, so another city or something. So it does complement what I do and never interferes. It's always complementary to what I do.
Well, great. Well, thank you so much for coming on this show. Sure. And like I said, we'll have your information in case you want to hire her for a DJ gig, and keep that in mind. And we'll definitely have that information at the station in case someone wants to hire you for not only real estate, but an event.
All right. That sounds great to me.
Okay. Thank you. Bye-bye.